Hey guys, welcome to the channel. It's Ben and Amy here to bring you a new mini-series called Marvel Through a New Lens.
Here we'll discuss the MCU, the good, the bad, and our final ratings based on our rewatch. For this series, we'll be going in Disney Plus's timeline order, but we will include the Incredible Hulk and Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies.
First on the list, Captain America, First Avenger. Spoiler alert, none of these movies deserve a 10 off of my list, but that's not to say that she might give it a 10.
As a Marvel fan.
The cool thing about movie cinema is that everybody's opinion is subjective, and just because I might hate a movie or dislike a movie, it's not to say that other people might love it. You know, I'm not here to bash the Marvel movies, but some of them are just not that great, in my opinion. So, that's just a little disclaimer right here, to start it off, and I'm going to try to be as unbiased as possible. So just because I give a movie a low rating doesn't mean I dislike you or your opinion. I think that's what's going to make this series so much fun to work on in the next few months. So with that being said, we're going to dive into our first movie.
Captain America, the First Avenger. So do you remember the first time that you watched Captain America?
Like my very first time?
Yeah, like in theaters, the very first time you watched the movie.
Okay, I'm just going to say that I did not watch Captain America in theaters. I did watch Iron Man and the first Thor, I believe. I think Avengers was coming out in theaters, and because I hadn't seen Captain America, I decided to watch it on DVD. I think I actually rented it from the library.
From the library?
Yeah, back, my mom used to go to the library and rent movies and stuff. So I remember that's the first time I watched it. What about you?
So for me, Captain America was actually the first movie of the MCU that I saw in theaters. At the time, I didn't really care. I don't remember. I think maybe like my parents actually wanted to go see it and I wasn't doing anything. So I was like, yeah, sure. Let's watch a superhero movie, whatever. And then you've seen Captain America, so seen Steve Rogers. So the rest is history.
Needless to say, I did enjoy watching it my very first time. I really wish I would have saw it in the theaters.
I'm glad I saw it in the theaters. I think it was a really good way to get me into MCU, especially since he was the first Avenger. I really liked it. So for this rewatch, I had high hopes for it. I hadn't seen it in a while, so I remember it being one of my favorites. So I was really excited to rewatch it.
So to jump right into it, we're going to be talking about the good. I'll be going first. I would just like to say that I like the time period that it was set in, back in the 40s during World War II. I like the Captain America's first two costumes. The first one was a little cheesy, but it was a throwback to the actual, the comics. And I believe one of the older television series that was done like in the 70s or 80s back then. But his second suit that he got, I thought it was pretty badass. I did like Red Skull. He was a cool villain.
So the fact that this was like a period movie, I really enjoyed that. I tend to go for those kinds of movies. And leading into Steve, like showing the passion that he has wanting to fight for the country, like I think it was a great way to show him as a character. I think that if they jumped right into like Steve as Captain America, I think it would have been really bland because he's just a goody two shoes. But showing like how he was and his personality before, I think was a great touch. I really like Peggy. I think that's one thing that Marvel has an issue with is the leading ladies for some reason. And I think that she was a great like balance for Steve, and they played off each other really well. And she was a great leading lady. Peggy was an actual likable love interest as opposed to some of the other ones that are in the Marvel movies. And she was a heroine in her own right, enough so that they made a TV show off of her. So with that being said, we're just gonna jump right into the bad. So the Red Skull was the bad for me. I guess the design of Red Skull was cool, but for whatever reason, I didn't like his scenes. I don't know if maybe because I was just so into the origin story of Steve that like I didn't want to like figure out what was going on with Red Skull. It didn't interest me at all.
He was Megatron, so that was
For
cool.
me, I didn't really dislike anything else. I thought it was a really good movie overall. How about you?
My only bad per se would be the whole beginning of Steve's CGI. I know they did like not a Photoshop, but they did some kind of process where they just kind of just shrunk his face in. So he just had a big old head, but he still kind of kept his low body, his body was just, small, shrunken down, I guess. I think they should have gone with more of like a de-aging process that we've seen maybe later on in the future Marvel movies.
Yeah, but how do you make Chris Evans look so sickly, though? I mean, how else would you do it?
Hey, I've seen Christian Bale go from 90 pounds in The Machinist to 170 pounds to play Batman, and Batman Begins a year later.
Yeah, but he did that to his own body, though.
Exactly.
That's too much, I think. I think that's too extreme.
Okay. It's called acting.
Okay.
But anyway, that was my bad. So, overall, I guess, I don't have too many bad things to say about Captain America. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, watching it over. Same as when I watched it the first time. There's some parts of it that could have been cut out, edited, whatever, but looking at it as a whole, I still enjoyed it.
It was a little long, I think. Maybe that's because I remember loving it, and then this rewatch, like, there were some parts where I was sitting through like, man, we're still watching this movie? I mean, like, I still liked it, but there was just something about it, this rewatch, that I was kind of like, eh. And I think maybe it was too long. Maybe some of the scenes, like you said, could have been edited or something. So I guess we just jump right into the rating. So what would you give Captain America, the First Avenger?
So we're going on a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best.
And in the scale, we're thinking of all different kinds of factors. There's the CGI, there's the actual characters, there's the storyline, the costumes, the score,
the costumes. Sometimes I'm really a big buff for cinematography.
True.
So there's that.
So there's a lot of different factors that we're using to come up with our rating. So based on all of that, for me, I would give it 7 out of 10.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to give it. It's going to be a 7 for me.
So overall, that was a successful start to our Marvel through a new lens. I look forward to see the next movie, which would be Captain Marvel. So we'll see how that goes.
As always, guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below what you didn't like about Captain America, and I'm interested in what your rating is out of the 1 to 10.
Thanks for tuning in for our newest mini-series. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and we hope to bring you the next episode very soon.